As a product designer, I find Vim fascinating. If you're not already familiar, Vim is a text editor that's about 30 years old, and it has a bit of a reputation for being extremely difficult to learn. So much so that there are a lot of memes about how difficult it is to use Vim, in particular, how difficult it is to exit Vim. And the first time you use it, if you try typing, your cursor will start jumping around in the document. Lines of text may start to disappear. There's no mouse input, there's no menu bar. So it might surprise you to learn that there are many Vim users who absolutely swear by it. In fact, if you watch somebody use Vim who knows it well, it is amazing. It is like watching a ballerina or a professional athlete. It is smooth, it is graceful. So that really led to my first question. Is Vim well designed? So how do we usually decide if something is well designed? Well, we've all taken things to user testing for validation, and we like to listen for words like easy or simple. We like to ask, was it easy for the user to figure out? And did it do what the user needed it to do? And that last piece, did it do what the user needed it to do? We can call that capability, right? Was it capable of doing what the user needed? And on the other side of that, we usually say usability, right? Was it capable of doing what the user needed, and was it easy for them to do? But that doesn't give us enough detail. Is Vim usable? So I don't think usability gives us enough detail. So I like to break usability into a couple different pieces. The first piece I call learnability. How easy is it to learn a tool? And the second piece I call ergonomics. How easy is it to use something once the user knows how? So with this kind of a breakdown, we can say Vim is terribly designed for learnability, but fantastically designed for ergonomics. Now, why do I call this ergonomic? Oxford English Dictionary defines ergonomic as relating to or designed for efficiency and comfort in the working environment. And these two things, efficiency and comfort, are things that we seldom test explicitly for when deciding if a product is well designed. If we wanted to, would we even know how? So in other words, you can think of the capability of a tool as what the tool can do, the learnability as how quickly can a user get up to speed doing that, and ergonomics as how quickly can they do something at full speed. So to look at what it means for a tool to be ergonomic, let's take a look at the same workflow in a couple different tools. Don't worry if you're not familiar with these tools. So let's take a look at how to make a page layout using Quark Express and Adobe InDesign. And bear in mind, we want to look at this through the eyes of a user who knows each tool well. So a user who knows Quark Express well knows that the fastest way to go through this process is to click the rectangular text box tool to create a text box, click the item tool to move items into place, then click the content tool to edit text. Now let's look at that same process in Adobe InDesign. A knowledgeable InDesign user knows the fastest way to go through this flow is to type the letter T to create a new text box, to type escape to move items into position, and to double click in the text box to edit text. Now let's look at these both on paper. They might seem like they have roughly the same number of steps, but when you look more closely, you realize that InDesign has a number of steps that are easier to do. Now, it's worth noting, you can go through the exact same workflow in InDesign as in Quark Express by clicking on the appropriate tool in the toolbox. But InDesign offered a number of ergonomic improvements to common tasks, which made the workflow much more ergonomic in InDesign. So it's not about capability, because both tools are equally capable of making a page layout. And it's not about how difficult it was to learn. It's about the required friction in a known process, because that friction will be there every time a user goes through that process. And it turns out this matters to users. This is a quote from Denise Williams, who used Quark Express in her daily job and was being shown a demo of InDesign. We all actually got emotional. The room was nuts. The Quark reps were humiliated. It was so obvious that all this stuff was going to take the friction out of our departments, which sometimes moved up to 200 ads a day. I remember this PM from Brooklyn sitting beside me who grabbed my arm partway through the demo, and we actually held each other while we listened. Crazy. And this is from Dave Gerard writing for Ars Technica. The widely reported statistics were that Express enjoyed 95% dominance of the publishing market in the 90s, but things swiftly changed, and by 2004, Quark's market share reportedly declined to 25%. That is what we in the publishing biz refer to as totally insane. Now, there were many reasons that people left Quark for InDesign, but I believe ergonomics played an important role. The daily pain people felt in their day-to-day work made making the switch to a competing product much easier. So to summarize, UI ergonomics can be central in a user choosing one product over another. So understanding what it is and how to improve it can be key to a product success. And splitting usability into learnability and ergonomics gives us a set of tools for measuring where our product sits next to our competitors. And we're going to take a look at that in the next video. So this is the first part of a series of articles and videos I'm doing on the subject of UI ergonomics. And I really feel like it's an underexplored area in the world of product design and strategy. Each article is going to be less than 10 minutes long, published every Monday on Medium. So you can follow me on Medium or on Twitter as Verbiate for updates on those. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.